Hello, light people. This is the 5D Frequency Podcast. In this podcast, we talk about all things spirituality, self growth, and ascension. We make spirituality easy and practical. I'm your host, Italia, and in today's episode, we are going to talk about if God experiences himself and how he does that. This is a quite complex topic, but I'm going to explain it to you in a very simple and very easy way. First, let's talk about what is God. God is a consciousness that is whole and complete. It's a consciousness that has ever been, that is, and that always will be. It is unity. It is the union of the polarities. Have you ever seen the yin yang symbol? In the symbol, the black part represents the feminine polarity. This polarity represents chaos, rest, inaction, flow, magnetism, and it's the negative polarity. The white part represents the masculine polarity. This polarity represents order, focus, structure, action, electricity, and is the positive polarity. No polarity is better than the other. They are both necessary and complementary. The union of these two polarities forms the whole, the circle in the yin yang symbol, and that is God. God is not good nor bad. It's not the feminine nor the masculine. It's not light nor darkness. It is both polarities working together at the same time. God is a neutral consciousness. I know this is hard to understand because we have been programmed to reject the bad, the negative, the darkness. And that's exactly why this side, this polarity of darkness, is so powerful in our world. Because we fear it, we reject it. We are only truly powerful when we are aligned with God, and that can only happen when we have looked at our own shadows and have integrated our shadows in our light. And what I mean by this is that we are very aware of our dark side, of our shadows, of our fears, but we need to look them in the eye and put them back in their place, which is to give us power and strength so that we can live in our light. The more we fear the dark, the more we fear the evil, the more we fear the shadows, the more we give them power, because they can only exist separate from the light, because they can only have power when they are separate from the light. For example, when we turn on a light in a dark room, the darkness ceases to exist. The darkness then gets integrated in the light. The darkness actually exists to serve the light. They need to work together. And what I mean by this is that the more we have in our lives setbacks and challenges, which could be the darkness, the more we become more powerful. These things exist to bring us power, to accelerate our process of empowerment, of embodiment of our own light. The more we integrate those parts of ourselves, those shadow parts of ourselves, the more our light shines brighter. This is how light and darkness are supposed to work. They are supposed to work together. Darkness accelerates the power of light. This is their job. But I just went on a tangent here. So let's go back to God. So God is the neutral energy. It is the union of polarities. It is the whole. It just is. And in this just being everything, he could not experience himself. He could not test, try, have experiences because he already was everything in one. So God decided to experience himself. He decided to experience more. And to do that, he needed to divide himself into different small parts that could move, that could look at each other, that could interact, so that God could experience himself. So, what we know as the Big Bang occurred. God first divided himself into two basic polarities, darkness and light, feminine and masculine, and from those two parts, everything is created. God divided himself into smaller and smaller and smaller parts into everything we see in our universe. Galaxies, planets, stars, mountains, rocks, water, fire, air, earth, animals, plants, humans, and so much more. All of it is God. We are all parts of that big whole that has divided himself to be able to experience himself as individuals, as individual particles inside the whole, as those individual particles that could move and interact to experience. That's why we are not separate from other people. We are not separate from nature. We are not separate from anything in the universe. It's because we are all parts of God that came from the same source. We came from the same source, and we are all inside the same soup of energy, let's put it in those terms, in different levels of consciousness. God is the big source consciousness that has originated everything, and we are a small part, a small fractal of that consciousness in a specific level of consciousness, experiencing a life based on that level of consciousness. That's why when we elevate our level of consciousness, we can perceive different things from those who are in the lower consciousness because we have expanded the amount of consciousness we can hold, and we get a little bit more closer to the whole, to the totality of God's consciousness. That's why plants, for example, are in an earlier stage of consciousness compared to animals. Animals have more consciousness than plants. And we, humans, have more consciousness than animals. And there are other beings in the universe that have more consciousness than us. Everything in the universe is always evolving to come back into the original God's consciousness. God was one whole that divided himself to experience himself in those small parts, in those fractals. And now all of those small parts, all of those fractals that are God experiencing himself, inside of the universe, all those small parts, humans, animals, plants, and much more, are constantly in a process of coming back into the whole again, evolving by getting more and more consciousness and coming back into the totality of God's consciousness again. Coming from a fractal of God with a small amount of consciousness and becoming a bigger fractal of God with more consciousness. Closer and closer to the consciousness of the whole that God is as one. Does this make sense? Or have I blown up your mind? I hope it wasn't confusing. The more we learn about these things, the clearer it gets, because we have an inner compass that let us know that this resonates, this is the truth. And it like sparks into us a aha moment of like, oh, that's it. When you have that inside of you, then you know that this is the truth. And all of this is very, very important to understand because we have been conditioned to only understand separation, to only believe in separation, that someone else, another human, another animal or plant, is completely separate from me. Yes, they are an individualized fractal, a part of God, just like you. But we are all inside the same soup of energy. We were all created from the exact same source, and we are all connected inside the same universe. We are living inside the same universe. We have the same molecules because we came from the same source. The more humans understand this, and the more humans embody this feeling of unity and release the false beliefs of separation, the less wars we will have, the more we will take better care of our planet, and the more we will be able to vibrate in the 5D frequency and build new Earth here on Earth. New Earth is this vibration of unity consciousness, is living from that state of unity consciousness instead of separation consciousness. And this is what we came here to do. We are all one. This is the main message in this podcast. Let us remember and embody this once and for all. We are all one. So, do you have any questions about this topic? I know this is not an easy topic, but if you have any questions, please leave them down below. And if you have any questions about anything concerning spirituality that you want me to talk about, I would love to know. Please leave a comment down below. And if you want, you can comment hashtag 5D consciousness for me to know that you are in this powerful mission to make this planet a better planet, that you came here to build new Earth alongside with many, many other amazing awakened souls. So I'll see you in the next episode. Much love, light, and truth.